What's up? Um, I've been kicking it around for a little while, trying to just kind of figure out what to talk about. So many things popped into my head over the last week, and I'm just going, I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this. Um, had such a grand time having a impromptu D&D session a couple nights ago um, that I stayed up to like 4 o'clock in the morning talking with Kason about plans that I had for her character and things that I want to do. Um, and uh, then some other things kind of hit. And earlier this afternoon, I was like, I'm ragey, I'm ready to go. And then I kind of just chilled out over over that point, and I don't like. There's a lot of things that I have written down that I want to talk about, but I'm like, I just don't have that in my heart today to talk about. And what I would really like to just kind of do is almost just have like a Jeopardy, have a potpourri category. So this may just be a rant for a bit. Um, I was watching stuff this afternoon about Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, two guys that I have an immense respect for whenever it comes to their opinions on things. And it's just one of those, yeah, okay, so I'm not the only one that thinks this way. And I started doing some research on, what's going on with Star Wars and all this other kind of stuff. And ever since Disney bought it and they started with Force Awakens, Star Wars has just done progressively less with each movie. And the only thing that I really kind of took on it was, they were talking about all the offshoots. And according to Statista, it said in 2015, Force Awakens cost $245 million to make, and it grossed just over $2 billion. So it made a profit of almost like 180 1.85 billion. Um Next on the pipeline was Star Wars episode 8, The Last Jedi, cost 317 million to make, did 1.3 billion. um Rise of Skywalker in 2019 was 275 million to make, made just over a billion. Rogue One 2016 cost 200, the cheapest of all of them, and grossed over a billion. Like, as far as between Rise of Skywalker and Rogue One was actually more profitable because one, it cost less to make, and the difference between what each movie made and what each movie cost, Rogue One did better than Rise of Skywalker, which Rise of Skywalker was absolute dog shit. It's to date the only Star Wars movie I watched and I went, "What? What do you Why are you here? What are you What is this? What is going on? Oh my god. How can you just teleport lightsabers? Why is Billy D. Williams here?" I'm going, did you just make this for just like a nostalgia, just explosion of, look at all this cool shit we put in? Aren't you happy to see them all again? No, no. I was a critic for The Force Awakens, simply because I was hoping for a continuation of the story, where it was sort of a continuation, but scared to just put a toe out there and try something different. So let's just do a complete remake of the first Star Wars movie, and let's just pretend that The Force Awakens is that same one, but we're just going to do more stuff. So when their Death Star goes off, and instead of blowing up one planet, they're going to blow up five. Ooh. And I didn't care that the main protagonist was female. Didn't care. I kind of liked where she was just, I'm just going to roam around and scavenge ships and mark little things on here of how many times I've been alone, and just do my own thing. And I've learned to just adapt with my stick and my sideways piece of bread machine that I ride on, and off I go. I was all for it. And then I saw that they were trying to make a big deal about where she came from and where her parents are and how she got all this stuff. And I just went, I don't care. I don't care. Because we already did the whole parental thing from the first 2 trilogies. We got the whole thing of I'm your father. And like, oh my God, the big reveal. And like, oh shit. And then we go back and we learn, well, what happened from what Obi-Wan told us about Luke, or told to Luke about his dad. And so now we get to do that whole thing. And I remember watching the prequels just kind of going, all right, Anakin, stop turning, stop. You can stop now. Come on. And just in my head, I'm rooting for Anakin. I'm not rooting for Vader. And it just got to the point to where I just felt the prequels were just very context heavy. And I'm going, you're doing a broad stroke for like his entire life. And I would have preferred to have it more condensed down. Like the Phantom Menace was fine, because you got to kind of see where he came from, how, he's able to kind of have these abilities and visions that he can do things faster than most. And then we're going to cultivate him. And then we jump forward, but we jump forward into boring shit. And the entire time it was like, we have these trade blockades, and it was all boring. I just remember going, I'm not interested. I'm glad I got to see all of them in theater, but I'm not interested. This has become stale and boring. There's no more fun. There's no more excitement. There's no more change. And I know everyone shit on The Last Jedi, but one thing that I really liked was at the very end where the kid's going out and he sees the stuff going off in space, and he reaches over and he just extends his hand out to the broom and he calls the broom to him. I felt Rian Johnson going, the Force is more than just in what we show you. There are people out there, so there are plenty of doors that you could open to do things. And then Rise of Skywalker hit, and I cringed. Like I said, I'm the type of moviegoer that I'm in my seat. You entertain me, I'm good. I will say that The Force Awakens, as far as a cinematic viewing experience, was far and above what the prequel trilogy was in comparison. Like The Force Awakens, as far as just cinematic viewing and being entertained the entire time, Force Awakens was better than all 3 prequel movies combined. All of them. Every single bit of it. It was better. I know Duel of Fates and Darth Maul and all that kind of shit, but that equates for like 10 minutes tops. And I just felt like Force Awakens was a better cinematic viewing experience as an audience member taking it all in. And then I'm starting to see what they're doing and the focus that they have. And I just going, this is so stupid. I still thought the best power moment was right before everybody was getting pissed off about The Last Jedi. And Kylo's yelling at Luke and he goes, everything you just said isn't true. And I went, I really liked that part. And I understand that The Last Jedi has its flaws. I'm not saying that it doesn't. It wasn't a perfect movie. I know I did a review on that thing way back when. But I still felt that it tried to go somewhere. And then J.J. Abrams picking up Rise of Skywalker just took just leaking dog shit all over it and just completely ruined it. So many people, are wanting out of it. Some are regretting that what happened, all that other kind of shit. And I just went, but I have to say, as far as the most recent Star Wars movies that have come out that have been, for me, worth it, out of all of them, Rogue One stands on top. I'm still sitting here going, I am more attached to these characters not remembering, because again, I'm there for the cinematic experience. I'm there on the journey, and even when they're talking about getting plans for this Death Star, and Jyn Erso's got her dad, and he put failsafe and shit like that in there. I wasn't thinking about any of that. I'm like, well, the Death Star blows up, or Mon Mothma said that many Bothans died to get us this, and I'm going, are any of these people Bothans? Or was that a race? Or was that like a planet? And those were like we'd be Earthlings, and like Both was like a planet Both, and there's just those people were from Both, like, because I remember that, but I'm going, are these Bothans? Well, they might be Bothans, and immediately went out of the back of my head, and I was just enjoying it. I got teary-eyed when K2SO was killed, and I'm going, what the hell is happening? And then realizing that they're killing them all off, which is why you don't ever see him again. But the fact that I got emotionally attached to these characters in a much shorter time frame than the sequel trilogy shows how good a writing that really was. And then they were talking about the Obi-Wan series and how that failed, and the Han Solo movie and how that failed. Because according to this, again on Statista, it said that it cost $275 million. Tied for how much it cost to make Rise of Skywalker, but only pulled in $392 million. So I would say that for a movie to be profitable, it needs to double its production, and it didn't, and it flopped. And like, well, I don't understand. Why did this flop? Doesn't people want to know? And I'm going, do you guys not realize that what you're doing is you are making movies and TV shows and series and shit like that about characters that are already gone in the movies? We all know Han died in Force Awakens, and at this point, the movie's like almost 10 years old. If it's spoilers, fuck off. You should have seen it by now. But Han dies in Force Awakens. Obi-Wan dies in the very first movie we ever saw of Star Wars. All the Rogue One people, they just bridged the gap between, well, here's what went on between the end of the prequel trilogy and then the original trilogy, and this is what happened. Which, if any of you are old enough to remember Shadows of the Empire on the Nintendo 64, that game was amazing. I remember loving that game, being Dash Rendar, running around, trying to figure out what's going on and solve all these other little things. Or now it was between Empire and Jedi, my bad. So having something else that's in between those was really interesting to me. And then like, well, here's Han Solo. We got his backstory. Well, who cares? Here's Boba Fett. We got his. Didn't he die in the Sarlacc pit? Now, granted, if you're reading in the books, they'll go ahead and tell you that those aren't canon and they're just going to start all over. But those of us that read the books, we knew Boba wasn't dead. And if you remember what 3PO says, we were slowly devoured in his stomach for over 1,000 years. So how far along were we after all that? 20, 30 years, maybe? All right. So he went from being it's like a 20-year-old to a 50-year-old. Mandalorian armor was melted, eaten, dissolved, all that other kind of shit. All right. So then what? Oh, you start coming up with other characters. All right. I'm okay with this. You had the Mandalorian. And what I really liked about the Mandalorian and my best friend, shout out Nabe guy, told me watch it. Because after I saw Rise of Skywalker, I went, I'm done with Star Wars. This was a travesty. Again, I have never watched a movie and screamed at it in the movie theater. I'll just be like, what the hell is this? This is dog shit. The whole thing was just awful. Every bit of it. There was no redeeming quality. Because let me ask you a question about the Rise of Skywalker. If the Emperor was only gone for, say, we'll say 30 years. You know, Luke was maybe about 20-ish by the end of Return of the Jedi, and he's, say, in his 50s, maybe 60s. So 20, 30, 40 years. Okay. So you mean to tell me in 30 to 40 years, you had to sit there and go, well, he's out there on Exegol, and we've got this magical dagger that if it lines up with the Death Star that fell on his planet, it'll tell you where it goes. It wasn't that long ago. Why did you try to Indiana Jones this shit? Like 40 years ago. You just asked my, hey, anybody seen him? And then we got these crystals that let you know where it goes, and there's only 2 left, and I just crushed one, and you gotta go find another one. And I'm going, this is just contrite and dumb. It's dumb. And when I told him I am done with Star Wars, this is stupid, he goes, watch The Mandalorian. I go, no. He goes, I felt the same, but go watch it. No, here's my Disney Plus password. Fine. Loved it. That show was great. It was darker, it was grittier, it was more about one specific person for one specific thing. And then, well, here's these assholes that are coming along. And it was great. I even liked season 2, I think. Because I think season 2 is where they had Timothy Olyphant in, which I love him as an actor. He's fantastic. And he was wearing the Mandalorian armor that was Boba Fett's, and he's like, I know whose armor this really goes to. I'm like, that's cool. And I wanted them to just kind of go, yeah, we'll get on our speeder bikes and we'll be crime fighting people. That'd have been great. And at the end of season 3, you know, where we had the big old moment with him taking his helmet off twice. I just kind of went, you know, I think, and I was not met with good favor when I said anything that I'm about to say, and pause for dramatic effect. I made a statement that pissed off a lot of people. They're going, no, you can't do that. Are you out of your mind? I went, no. I feel that's what needs to happen. Because the show lost its identity and they just kind of held on to this part to just go, we'll be okay. And that was, they had to get rid of Grogu. When he said his goodbye and he took off his helmet and the little dude touched his face, I'm not going to lie, I teared up on that shit. It was touching as hell, but I went, they need to keep him gone. And they bring him back. They even brought in other Mandalorian people to try and be like, look, you're not alone. You got all this other kind of stuff. You're just in a different part. And they freely move their helmets. He goes, that's not what you're supposed to do. And it's like, oh, you're a purist. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Because we never saw Boba Fett's face. And so we're like, that's Boba Fett. Even the moment that I saw him on the show, I went, that's Boba Fett. Because it was the same guy that played Jango. Come on. If you were in the Star Wars universe, you didn't put that together, I don't know. Again, I'm the guy that doesn't pay attention to things, and I don't try to sit there and think ahead, but I was like, Boba. I knew right away it was Boba. But I didn't really feel like watching the Book of Boba Fett. Honestly, it didn't interest me. Just like every single What If episode from Marvel, it didn't interest me. I was going, I'm good. I don't think that everything needs to be said and everything needs to have its story and that every nail needs to be hit before we could, you know, call this board a part of the house. It's like, I don't care. It doesn't interest me. There's nothing that ties me to want to go watch those parts. So I bowed out of a lot of that. And I started hearing about The Acolyte and started hearing about how there's this coven of witches that can create life using the Force. And I just went, well, that's dumb. Why? And I realized what they were doing is they were trying to usurp and cast out all of the previous Star Wars films. All of them. Every one of them. Because if the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy were all about Vader, because they were, 100%, that's what those 6 movies were about. Were about Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, period. You cannot tell me otherwise. That was the introduction, the rise, the fall, the evil rise, and the redemption fall, if you will, back to where he was. And that's how Return of the Jedi ended, and that's what those 6 movies encompassed. In squishing it all down, was the life of Anakin Skywalker as Darth Vader, and then back to Anakin. That's what it was. And then you're trying to sit there and do Rey, and then put Rey as a Palpatine. That and that was another thing that really pissed me off about the 9th movie. I'm going, okay, hold on. You mean to tell me you are so terrible at writing, creative writing, conceptualizing, and coming up with something else that you had Hux be a very, very, very good bad guy in Force Awakens, but he was really a spy for the Rebel Alliance the entire time. That was dumb. But really, the evil guy in every single trilogy was Palpatine. Why? That's lazy. Lazy. That was horrible. If anything else, what I feel they should have done is, if you wanted to sit there and kind of play it like Hux was really on their side, and then have him double cross and just stomp through them motherfuckers, just ripping them apart. I'd be like, oh shit. You could have done that. Put him online with the likes of Thrall. I mean, it was just so lazy and so dumb. And I saw another part where one of the twins was trying to kill this Jedi, and no matter what she tried to do, she couldn't get through and couldn't kill him because he was unkillable. And then she puts a bit of poison in front of him. He goes, oh, okay. Drinks it and dies. What? Why? When Luke was done with the whole Kylo thing, he just kind of said, okay, I will now return to the Force fully. My mission is complete, if you will. So he just willingly gave himself up. And this dude just goes, yeah, okay, I'll drink the poison now. Then why even worry about having the force field up? What the hell was the point? To sow the seeds of doubt or whatever? What? It looked dumb. It didn't look like there was anything there that I wanted to watch. I heard Ahsoka was good. I didn't really look at that one yet. But just seeing what they were doing and just trying to ham fist some bullshit in there, I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't. There was nothing that seemed like it was going to be redeeming for any of it. And considering I do subscribe and watch Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker, there was a lot of backlash that the showrunners for The Acolyte came into, and they said it was because of those two. They caused all this misogyny and racism and all this other kind of bullshit, and I'm going, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. You were just trying to ham fist things down people's throats, and we're getting tired of it. And even with how a lot of things went, and I brought this up in my MCU rankings video a little while ago, when She-Hulk was talking about after she had gotten Bruce's blood in him, which I noticed they went with a car accident and it accidentally happened, so then she could be mad at him about it. Where in the comic books, she needed a blood transfusion immediately, and he had the blood that would work, and they're going, okay, then you need to help. He goes, you don't understand. They go, do you want your cousin to die? He goes, no. Then you need to help her right now, and gave her a blood transfusion to save her life. Well, why couldn't you just do that? What was wrong with that? Did you fear giving her a weak moment would make her look weak? Like she needed to have a man help her? Or later on, whenever he was trying to tell her how to handle the Hulk stuff, and she was talking about how all the time she's catcalled and shit like that, how she does it infinitely more than you. And then you just see the look on Mark Ruffalo's face where he's like, well, okay. Even in that moment, you could see he was over it. It was bullshit. And I'm going, why is it that so many of the female-led movies need to rely on male bashing or being around male incompetence, idiots, or just heartthrobs, but mindless, in order to really sit there and say, this is a strong woman? Because, and I was thinking about this earlier today, if you take Captain Marvel, which I love the character Captain Marvel. I was following since it was Miss Marvel. I love Carol Danvers. I would love to get a hold of a Marvel Superheroes number 13 of Carol Danvers' first appearance. That's up there on the list to try and get, but I mean, I think every single, if not damn near every single. Give me one quick sec. But to say that I'm gonna shit on this movie because I don't like the character is not true at all. Let's see. Captain Marvel Volume 6 full run, 7 full run, 8 full run, 9 full run, 10 full run. Where's my Ms. Marvel? Excuse me, just had dinner recently. Yes, I do have Ms. Marvel Volume 2, the one that went through 50 issues. I have that full run. Apparently I'm still missing some from the first one, but those get up there in price. But I mean, I do have Ms. Marvel Volume 1, number 1. So I have her first appearance as a superhero. So also my car, I don't know if many of you are aware or some of you still do this. I've taken it from my grandpa, and his old green long fucking car, whatever the hell it was. I just know he always called her Betsy. So I knew that guys name their cars girl names. So my car's name is Carol for Carol Danvers. So please don't come at me and say that I'm shitting on this movie because I don't care about it, because yes, the hell I do. Anyway, that aside, the Captain Marvel movie was okay. It was just okay. It wasn't great, but I will say what they tried to do as far as give female strength and empowerment did not come with, well, you're a man, you're just keeping me down, even though technically that's what Jude Law was doing, because he knew what was going on, and they knew that they had to keep her mind brainwashing at peak in order to keep her a good little obedient soldier. But if you look, the main antagonist of the movie was a female. Thank you. Even though the last thing she fought was Jude Law, but the message was is that, you know, it was always she got knocked down, and that's just what they kept focusing on. The whole movie was, you know, you met with adversity and you got your ass kicked because you were too hot-headed, or you messed with adversity and you got your ass kicked because you weren't thinking. You messed with adversity and you got your ass kicked because you were weak. You messed with adversity and got your ass kicked because you weren't listening. And they play that same montage, but what they put at the end of that is, but she got back up every time. And that's what they were blocking, was the fact that she still got back up, the fact that she still tried, the fact that she was still going, no, screw you, I'm gonna get back up because I'm a fighter, that's what I do. And that was a great message to have, to tell people that when you're getting your ass kicked, true strength comes from not giving up. True strength comes from getting back up there and telling people, no, you kiss my ass, I'm still going. I don't care what you did. I don't care what you do. I'm still going. So eat a cactus with a knife and fork. So no. And that was a stronger message than, well, you need to be a bumbling idiot. Look at the new Ghostbusters with the all-female cast. Then you had Chris Hemsworth, who was just good looking, and they fawned all over him, but he was an idiot in that movie. If you're gonna be strong, you have strength. You are strong. But stealing it from someone else and then going, I am strong. No, you're a bully. So the same thing that you're trying to get around and the same thing you're trying to get away from are bullying tactics, yet you employ them to shoehorn and ham-fist strength. Why not sit there and have durability, endurance, courage, instead of just, well, man bad, woman good. Yay. How is that teaching any good message for kids? That's probably why we're at where we are now, where it's 100% okay to throw hate around as long as it's directed towards men. Oh, you're saying hate men? Yeah, no one cares. Nah, they're fine. Do you know why? Do you know why no one cares? Because men's entire life were told, stop being a pussy, stop being a girl, walk it off, rub some dirt on it, quit crying, be a man, men don't cry. So everyone our entire life is bullying us. So now you put it in the mainstream media, and all these little girls that are watching these movies are learning these things about it's okay to bash men. It's okay to hate men. Well, how are you really preaching equality and unity when one of them is lesser than the other? Tell me how that's a good family message, and how that's something that can really apply to something that you're trying to put into a superhero movie about inclusion, diversity, strength, unity, companionship. Oh, but no. If it's a man, you don't need any of that shit. And getting off topic, but when you go back to one of the last things that I remember that just really kind of hit home, and this goes for Star Wars and this goes for Marvel, and I'll even throw DC into the mix too. The reason why a lot of these new shows and movies are failing and flopping is they forgot one very important thing. One very important thing for all three of these. The people that bought enough of your books, that cared enough about your characters, that followed every storyline, good or bad, that got you prominence into everything now, you have shit on. The first three phases of Marvel, where it really started to be that juggernaut, to where it was they could do no wrong. They put out Ant-Man and it made money. Ant-Man sucked, all of them. I don't even care about watching Quantumania. When I saw that thing from MODOK, I could not stop laughing. I'm going, that is horrific. No, you should have just CGI'd the whole damn thing. That was just laughably bad. And whether it was a call on the studio, whether it was a call on the actor going, if you're going to give my voice, you better have my face in there. I said, okay, well, we'll put this band across your face and you have these legs hanging from your chin like you haven't slurped in the last couple of bites of spaghetti yet. No. It's absolutely just hilariously awful. And when you had the beginning, like Iron Man, people are like, oh, there's an Iron Man movie. All those Iron Man fans that for so long, because let's be honest, for just one damn minute, the majority of the Star Wars fans, the majority of the Marvel fans, the majority of the DC fans, from its inception, the vast majority have been men. I got picked on in grade school in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade because I still like to watch Ninja Turtles on Saturdays. I still like to watch Voltron. I like to watch Transformers. I like to watch G.I. Joe. I still enjoyed those things, but I got relentlessly bullied to be like, you pussy. And I got bullied every damn day for those 4 years. Because I still like those things. When I was a kid, when I was a fucking kid. And I still sat there, and when the new movies came out for the Transformers, for G.I. Joe, for Ninja Turtles. I went and I sat in the theater because I still enjoyed them. Fuck all of you for sitting there telling me that I can't enjoy the shit I enjoy. Double fuck you. And so when the Marvel movies came out, everyone was talking about them. I remember working at the airport, just right over here, talking with one of the guys. He goes, you know what? After watching Iron Man, you know what I really wanted to do? Build shit. You got a guy who probably never read an Iron Man comic in his life. Watched that movie and he wanted to go build shit. His words. What do people talk about with the movies now? So I haven't talked with him since I stopped working at the airport, but I wonder if he's got kids now, how many of those movies did he go and have his kids watch? And those kids are enjoying them. But those kids, his wife, only enjoy those because he did first. And as you have your target audience that started everything, again, mostly men, not saying that there weren't women, because there were. So don't throw that in my face. But the fact that it was the majority of men were watching these things, were enjoying these things, were buying the toys, were wearing the Jedi robes and being called fucking nerds for it. And then when Phantom Menace came out, you had guys cosplaying as Jedi standing in line waiting to go see a movie. They're dressed like a Jedi to go watch a movie about Jedis. There was probably some women that went, well, shit, I'm going to do that too. And then as it went on, more and more started doing it. And then you got people now, they get paid to cosplay. I think it's Allison Tabitha, one of the most amazing cosplayers I'd ever seen in my life. But the nerds that did all that shit first paved that way. They were the ones that set the stones. They were the ones that had the precedence. They were the ones that suffered through all the ridicule. And because you are doing them a disservice, guess what ends up happening? That same guy that took Iron Man and went, now I want to make shit. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, he's married. He has 3 kids. So there's 5 people in that house that watched those movies because of him. And if he starts to get out of it, do you think the wife's going to care? Probably not. Do you think if the kids start getting out of it? Okay. So now you sell 1 ticket instead of 5 because you betrayed the first person that was in that seat to begin with, that sat in their bedroom in their chairs with that comic book in their hands, waiting, going, oh man, I got to wait another month. Fuck! But you betrayed them. And because you betrayed them, you betrayed everything that those things really kind of started, which was just to detach yourself from normal life and go enjoy something in a galaxy far, far away, or where gods can actually be fucked with, or you have rich detectives that can sit there and fly through the night sky and beat up bad guys to try and make the city better. You had all of those that sat there and that you relegated to the bench and then relegated to not even being included in the fucking stadium to begin with. So if you kick them out, don't you think everybody else is going to go too? Because let's be honest with ourselves. Anytime you have someone that has a passion for one thing and other people start to gravitate towards that passion and they start to be like, oh shit, oh, hold on, I got to sit up for this. What the hell's going on? You're doing what? Oh shit, I'm going to go watch it. When you start taking the originator away, like, hey, you still do that? Nope. It got shitty. Really? That sucks. I remember watching those all the time. We had a good old time. Yeah, I know. Why'd it get shitty? They just stopped fucking caring. Well, that's dumb. That's what happened. So you lost seats because you lost sight and you lost the ability not to pander, but to help engage your original audience. the guys that go to the comic book stores every Wednesday and pick up new issues, or the guys that go to the toy stores and the toy conventions to try and find some of those ones from their past that they haven't been able to get a hold of. Or the guys that sit there and will go, no, 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 it wasn't just Bob Kane. Bob Kane originally came up with the idea. Bill Finger just said, let me make this shit better, and died penniless because Bob Kane said it was all him. And so those of us that know about Bill Finger are the ones you need to aim the movies to. The ones that know about the times where Superman sat there and had a beer on the front cover of Action Comics 6. No. Fuck. I don't collect Superman, so I'm sorry. Superman beer cover. 864. They had to recall those, and those covers are, I don't know, I think last I looked at like $80 to $100 to have a cover just with Superman has a beer on it. And then I think the next one they changed it, it just says root beer or some shit. But Superman couldn't even have alcohol because people were so incensed by it. But I'm going, those are the people that you're making that shit for. Them. Just like the first Wonder Woman movie. I was sitting there going, there's no way this is going to be good. That movie was amazing. I've watched that movie like 3-4 times now. I don't usually watch a lot of movies over and over again unless I truly enjoyed them. And I watched that one numerous times. I still thought they could have done something better with the BBEG at the end with her fighting Ares. But it is what it is. And then they did 1984, and I wish I could go back to 1984 and not know that that movie existed nor have watched it. Because that movie was dumb. It was a waste of Pedro Pascal. He was a great antagonist. Very believable, but it's just the way that they kind of went, you can reverse all of this. You can make all this bad stuff go away. Just reject all of your wishes. Bitch, what? No. No, 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 no. You're going to give me something that I can wish for whatever I want and I get to keep it? Well, it's tearing the world apart. So fuck him up. There's no way you could tell me that you were suggestive enough to just by voice tell everyone to just throw all their stuff away. Don't give him power. And they went, oh, okay, I'll just go ahead and there that thing goes. I did my part. I did my part. I did my part. I didn't do fucking shit. There's plenty of people in this world that would go, you better find someone else to take that because I'm not going to do it. I don't think so. And that's what I'm talking about is the writing sort of loses its feel. And that's why a lot of these movies today are failing. Because again, most of us just want to go to a movie and be entertained and give us something to forget about the dregs of everyday life. Some of us have to go do 9-to-5 jobs that we just absolutely hate. Some of us have to work overnights that we absolutely hate. Some truck drivers you have that are sitting there driving over roads right now to put stuff into a warehouse so that you can come pick it up to make your life easier and better. You got nurses that pull 12, 14-hour shifts that just want to do nothing but shower, fart, and sleep by the time they're off work. They don't really want to do much of anything else. But when they have some extra time, they go watch a movie. They just want to be entertained. And if you can't entertain them and you're trying to shove other shit down their throat that they need to worry about, that they hear about in the world, you're not doing anyone a favor. You're doing them a disservice. And you owe your audience, you owe the people that sit there and take some extra time that a lot of us don't have to go watch your movies, to go tune into your TV shows and actually enjoy what we're watching. Otherwise, we turn off the TV. We don't go into the theaters. Because when I went and saw Deadpool Wolverine a few weeks ago, it was the first movie I saw in a theater since Endgame. Unless... Do I need Endgame? Avengers Endgame. When did that come out? 2019. Oh yeah, it probably was Endgame because 2019 Rise of Skywalker also came out. So yeah, either way, that was the last time I went and saw a movie. So it was about 5 years before I went and put my butt in a theater. Oh no! I'm sorry, I take that back. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and I was disappointed. But I saw 2 movies in 5 years. When every single Marvel movie, after I saw the first Ant-Man, I went, okay, I'm never gonna go see any more of those. So I'm on Disney Plus, and I went, all right, I'm good with that. But those movies were terrible. Sue me. And it just, I realized that they're not writing for the original fans, the ones that got people into the seats. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and it'll probably keep being said. When I went and saw Endgame with my cousin, I remember she was sitting to my left, and when they were doing the whole thing where Steve went to go get the scepter, and he goes, they want me to run point on the scepter. He goes, well, I'll call him. He goes, you don't need to. Trust me. Hail Hydra. I went, and I'm smacking her. She goes, what? I was like, that's from Secret Empire. She goes, what? I'm like, when Steve was really a Nazi spy the whole time. She goes, leave me alone. And then when Thanos shows up and blows up the whole Avengers compound and Hulk's raising up everything to try and prevent Rhodey and Rocket from drowning, I was like, oh, Secret Wars cover number 4. She goes, leave me alone. I have bruises. But that's what you build those for, because she still remembers that. She still tells that story. And she's a fan because of moments like that. Because she knows that she can have a kinship with me whenever we watch them. That there's a connection that I enhance from being one of the OGs that were involved. And you lose that when you get rid of the stuff for us OGs. And that is a problem. That is why Disney is failing. So if you want to get back to basics, which at this point you're going to have to, because I'm still looking at a lot of the MCU movies going, what's the point? I saw a post on Reddit where they were saying that Shang-Chi was the GOAT. No, it wasn't. It's not even the top 20, bruh. It's not. Even if there ain't 20, it's still not in the top 20. It's not. Because what's he going to do on like a world extinction event to where you have all of these like Thanos like things, are the ones that came in the first Avengers with Loki and the Chitauri. What the fuck is Shang-Chi going to do? You saw how Black Widow handled it. Well, because he has some bracelets, he can whoop some ass. Did you forget who killed the dragon? Okay. So what's he going to do? What the hell is Hawkeye going to do? And the fact that they never called him Hawkeye in the movies really bothered me, even though all the rest were going, oh, that's Hawkeye. And then they had the Hawkeye show, which Kate Bishop was great, and Yelena was even better, but you had Cliff take such a back seat for so much of it. And I'm going, okay, I get you want to try and build her up, but have a little bit more back and forth with it. Because I remember the dog Lucky with one eye who eats pizza. Matt Fraction did a good job with that. I think it was David Aja that drew it. I enjoyed that. That was a good series. I enjoyed it. And I don't feel that the show did that series any justice whatsoever. But there's too many times where we get just focused in on let's force feed people this rather than making it organic. If you remember the end of the first Avengers movies, when we first saw Thanos, and they slowly built him up. They slowly had him show up. To us, like, here's this big thing coming. And then you're like, Kang, gone. Like, all of these big world extinction events, you didn't build towards. You just kind of throw in there. You have all these extra characters you just kind of throw in, like, you get your own movie, you get your own movie, you get your own movie. For the Marvels, we're going to hope that Carol carries this. But we'll have Monica and Kamala join, and yeah, it'll be good. And then you botch the hell out of that. Like, you're just throwing shit at the wall and hoping that you'll catch lightning in a bottle, and you haven't yet. So take a couple of steps back. Tell yourself we need an actual plan and roadmap of how to merge all this shit together to have it be a better cohesive product to contend with the likes of Endgame. Because at this stage, I guarantee you they ain't going to do anything about it. Just like Star Wars hasn't done a damn thing near Force Awakens. Pretty much everything has done worse that they've put out because they get farther and farther away from what we actually want to see, what actually engages us, what gets us talking, instead of bitching about it. I had numerous conversations with people about Last Jedi, and they're like, that movie was fucking awful. I wish I could have gone back and talked to some of them about The Rise of Skywalker at the time. But, I mean, I defended it because I understood where he was trying to go, but yeah, no ship had ever had fuel. It was never discussed. Now all of a sudden we have fuel. And there's just so many other little things that they just throw in as nuances. And then another one of them said, how can laser blasts arc? And I went, all right. So they took a little too many liberties. And some of the stories were so thin, you really couldn't do anything about it. But if you remember, they kept trying to build up characters from The Force Awakens, even Finn. Even Finn was such an integral part, and then he kept dropping out. Do you know why? Because China doesn't like black actors. Go look it up. Look at all the movie release posters. Finn was a prominent figure in the U.S., and he was a background character in the very back in China. That's why they had to relegate him down levels. They didn't want the movies to bomb in China. Sucks, but that's the truth. So, where does that put us now? I saw that I was looking up the Acolyte before I started this video, and I saw that there was a lot of talk about bots doing reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, because on Rotten Tomatoes, Acolyte is up to 78% for the average tomato meter or the critic meter, and is still at 18% for the popcornometer, which is the audience review. And if you look up other stats on it, there's about this many 5-star, about this many 4, about this many 3, about this many 2, and about this many 1. Because they're trying to go, no, look, it's good. And even people are going, a lot of this stuff just sounds like some shit Chat GPT would say. So, and then people crying about, well, this is what's going on. Well, look at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Why are you CGIing parts that you could have dwarfs actually play? Like, if there's any movie that automatically says 7 dwarves are going to get a casting spot, it's Snow White. So why are they not in there? So there's a little thing called, if you're going to remake it. But don't redo it and call it a remake to where you pretty much have no Prince Charming. I saw a thing with Piers Morgan, Esther, I can't remember her last name. I think it was James Barr, Barr, whatever. And then Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker. And they were talking about Snow White. And he had brought up, they asked her to clean, and James Marr goes, well, it's your house, you clean it. And I'm going, do you not read? Do you not pay attention? She waltzed into their house, ate their food, drank their wine, tested all of their beds, and they came home from a day of work to find a stranger in their house that had stolen their shit and is now squatting. The least she could do to make up for it is clean. Haven't you ever heard of if you can't afford to eat at a restaurant, they'll have you go back and do the dishes? Is that sexist, or is that just we're gonna get some pay out of you one way or another? So there you go. Like, if you have to be so quick to virtue signal, at least know what the fuck you're talking about to begin with. And on that, I think I've ran this video a little too damn long. For someone that wasn't trying to get into anything too heated, just kind of screwed the pooch on that one. I do remember after the last video, I really wanted to get back in and talk about D&D some more. But I think I'm going to stop this one here. I do kind of want to get back to D&D at some point. But there could be a lot more highly volatile topics that come soon. So if you've enjoyed anything, let me know. Remember, keep civil discourse. You don't need to go off on anybody. Throw me your opinions. Sorry for this being long-winded. I know if it were like a normal podcasting thing, if I had someone else to bounce things back and forth with, these would be a lot longer than just essentially less than an hour or close to of me just ranting by myself. But I do try to get as much fact check in as I can. But if I've missed some spots, let me know. I'm only human. I make mistakes. I've made them before and I'll make them again. It's just how shit goes. But I wish you all the best. Enjoy your days. Be safe. And see you soon. Peace.